everybody, it's Gary, Main Brew Guy. Today we're going to be doing a video on converting a all-rounder or a Fermzilla to glycol or some sort of temperature control system. It's really not that expensive. Yeah, let's review the items. The first thing you'll need is this thermal well, which it's obviously too long, so we'll have to cut it and we'll go through that as well. Optional is these 90-degree hose press and fit. If you want to, you can use these, or you can just run the hoses up through. The 90s are for that. Optional, of course. The next, you'll need a temp twister, a coil. This is a long coil. It's a coil with long tubing. Again, you'll have to cut the tubing. And lastly, you'll need this nice thermal jacket. It's actually, I thought this was going to be super expensive, but it wasn't actually. It's quite cheap. And that just basically goes over this nice and snug. And over the top, sits on the floor with the stand. So if you wanted to, I suppose you could put something on the floor as well to help insulate if it's a really difficult temperature variation. But otherwise, I think this would work just fine. Okay, plus it keeps the light out. No need to put a big shirt over it like I've had to do in the past. All right, so let's get started on this project. Should be fun. Okay, so the first thing we did today to get started, let me take this and show you. So this is what was on the tubing for the twister. So it press fit. So it was a little hard getting off. I tried pulling it off, I couldn't do it. I tried pressing the release, I couldn't do it. So what I did is I pushed it down, then I pulled the release and pulled up, and then it came off. So that's off. So the idea here is, if you see, this is pretty lined up. Let me see if I can get that in there. To go in right there. God, I hope that's in the shot. Like that. That's why the twister is the right size for this situation. So the other thing is, you have to drill a hole in that spot. That's the size of the OD of the thread, so it fits nice and snug in here, because there's a seal here, a rubber seal, that if you drill the hole too big, you're going to lose the seal and ruin the cover, and you'll have to get a new cover. So let's make sure we have the right size. So what you need is a pilot bit, a bit to drill your pilot hole. It can be, you can do a smaller bit than this and then just do a bigger bit. But I like to have the bit big enough to clear the tip of that step bit. All right. I made a mark on the step bit right there, not to go past that. It's still under what I need, but you can always take off more. You just can't add more back. So there's a nice little divot right in the center here for you, so it makes it super easy to find the center of that. Oops. Better have a better grip on it than that. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can. Okay, good. Those are the two pilot holes. Now the step bit. Okay, there's the holes. You can see that's a kind of a snug fit through there. So we'll have to pressure test it, of course, but I'm not going to mount these yet because I want to get an idea. So I have to cut it. Right? I don't want it sitting directly on the bottom. Let's see if you guys can see the whole thing. No, you can't. Let me bring it in a little. Okay. So it's sitting at the bottom right now. I don't want it there. I want it probably around here, right? So I'm going to put some painter's tape here. Now we can mount these on. So rubber gasket on the bottom. Well, I say I can mount them. I can mount them now, but I have to drill one more hole for the thermal well. So I'm not going to get all the shavings inside here, which may affect how it seats the stainless steel tubing. So we'll leave that out for now. So back to the thermal well. The thermal well is a little bit smaller, and it also has a smaller fitting, so we have to be careful not to just arbitrarily just bore the hole at the same size. And it's a tube with a actual bottom on it, so you want to make sure you cut the right end, okay? So as you can see here, it's the same kind of press fit, bulkhead fitting. Make sure the pilot drill isn't bigger than what you need, and it doesn't appear to be, so we're good there. In fact, you could probably just find the right size drill bit, but I think this is the biggest one I have, so yeah. All right, so another way to be sure, if you don't have a way to measure it, like a set of calipers, is you can always check to see if your drill bit fits inside the actual nut that goes on here. This is still too small, but the next size up that I have is too big. So we'll stick to the step bit pilot hole. Again, the step bit. Slow and easy. This ABS plastic is very soft when it comes to drilling. So we're almost there. Just a shade more. Nice and light. And that should do it. If not, we're pretty close. Yeah, that's it. As you can see, nice snug fit. A couple of things you want to think about. It's best that the thermal well sits at the base of this. So I don't want to make it too long. I don't want it way down here. I kind of want it in the middle of the beer, sort of in the middle. So probably in this area here. So let me get a piece of tape ready. It's not an exact. And we leave the tape on for a couple of reasons. You'll see in a moment where we're going to be cutting, and it makes it easier. All right, so now that we have that the way we want it, we just want to run our fingers gently through here, make sure there's no pieces or bits of plastic or burrs or anything like that. If there are, you might want to just take a little piece of sandpaper and clean those up. But the ABS cuts real nice. I'm going to take a little extra precaution and put some lube. I'll show you. Food safe keg lube. Just to help ensure a good seal. So one thing that's going to upset you the most is if your pressure fermenter no longer holds pressure. So I'm just going to snug those down. I'm going to snug that down with my metric vice grips. Those of you might get that. Same thing with the larger ones. A little bit of keg lube. Oh yeah, that's right, it's plastic thread, so don't reef on it. Oh, it's a pretty busy lid now, huh? So the thing you might want to remember on this too is that you need to leave some distance up in here, because that's where you're going to fit whatever fitting you want to use that goes onto your glycol system. If you want to use a quick disconnect system or whatever, that's fine. You can, but you're going to have to flare, probably use a compression fitting and flare the end. And I'll cover that. How I'll tackle that, I'll cover here in a little bit. Now, a tube cutter would have been better, but I'm just showing you here how you can do it with a Dremel tool as well, if you don't have a tube cutter. Leaving enough room for whatever fitting we want to do. There you go, it's in the middle of the beer. So the same thing is going to apply when we cut the coil. Okay, so we're cut deburred and cleaned. Same situation. I took the thermal probe out because it seems to be in the way. There would have been no other way to do this, so it's going to have to be, I'm going to push these through at the same rate, otherwise they'll bind. Okay, I'm not 100% okay with this, but it looks like the probe itself is at the top. It rests on the coil, but down at the bottom it doesn't, so that means it's at a little bit of an angle. So I'm wondering if that's going to be two problems. One, a good seal in here, and is it going to be an accurate measurement being so close to the coil? I guess that's probably a complaint that I would assume would be a problem. We'll see. Let's lock it down. Butterfly's closed. Let's get the gas. 10.9. I'm leaking here. You can see it there. So the question is, where is it coming from? I think it's coming from the tube seat, not the gasket seat. Let me see if I can bring that in tighter for you. See the bubbles coming out of that left one, or the right one. Yeah, okay. Let's see if I can kind of twist it. Turn it left and right. Might actually be coming from the seating. Definitely got a little better, but I don't want to crush the tubing. I just want to grab it and move it left to right. Let's put a little tape around it. Let's slow down a lot. Well, that did it. All right, we'll just let it set there then. It's setting at 10.9 now. That's where it was before. I guess it has to settle in. So there we go. Then this doesn't need anything done to it. The thermal probe will slide down to the thermal well. These here, I have to decide what kind of fittings I'm going to use and if I need to flare those ends. So when we talked about all the additional pieces and parts you may need, these 90s are press fit over those tubes, so there would be no flaring needed. You could push these on. The only problem for me is that the inside diameter of the other end of this is too small for the hoses I use. So I'm just going to press these on, and I'm going to go ahead and buy the adapter that plugs into this that upsizes my glycol hosing. So basically, this is super simple now, right? That just fits on like this. Press fit, done. Press fit, done. For me, I'll have to get the adapters that the hoses I have, like I said, are much too large for that. You can buy the one that sticks into this. It's like a male post that has the larger post on the outside. I think you can even get those at Home Depot. I'll have to check into that. So I forgot to mention or record that glycol setup. I really didn't need it all that much. The temperatures were very, very ale-like for me. So anyway, it's done. I'm going to be transferring it over today. Worked like a champ. I still have to get, what I did was I put the hoses over the top and then put a clamp down on them. But I'm sticking these back on now. Oops, I'm sticking these back on now so that I can put the right fittings on there. I like the quick disconnects. It's a little easier. Anyway, huge success. Held pressure. Cheers.